Look, I take care of you, I feed you, I cook, I do all that stuff. And all I did, I asked you for your birthday money so that I can pay the light bill. You don't want to give me the birthday money. So I am taking the PSI back so I can get the money so the bill can be paid.
Well, how you gonna ask for my birthday money that I got on my birthday to pay the light bill? And why you trying to take my PS5 away?
Well, you can't pay the PS5 anyway, man. I mean, no damn lights in our house.
You shouldn't have been going out so much. You would have had the money. What happened to the income tax?
First of all, I'm an adult. Stay out my business. When I come to you as a mother and I'm telling you that's the issue of I need help, you help.
You went out so much. I'm proud you went out. You need to spend time with us, and you need to spend money on your bills.
Leilani, I'm not even talking to you, so you stay in the child's place.
You should stay in the child's place, but you asking my brother to pay your bills. And just like Lay said, you need to start spending money on us and stop spending money on yourself and your little boyfriend.
Boy,
Okay. All right. You're constantly spoiled. Where are you gonna find this righteous woman at, man? Who's Barakatah Yahweh. Barakatah Yahweh Shai. I'm gonna give all praises and all honor and all glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakaha Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and do well. The elder apostles, bishops in Connecticut, the bishops, the preachers, the teachers, the evangelists, and the four winds, preaching in truth and sincerity, risking your lives more now than ever. The hopeful elect, Shalom. To the Israelite foreigners, whose phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel through your father and have come back to the fold. Shalom to you sisters, you Akwathium, who listen and learn under your husband, which is your spiritual leader, with meekness and with silence. This your brother Aram Yahawada with the lesson. Yeah, with the lesson. And this is Proverbs chapter 31. Start at 1. And it says, the word of the king Lamiel, the prophet, that his mother, the prophecy that his mother taught him. So his mother taught him prophecy, right? Which we know that there's no women prophets, right? There are no women prophets, right? To teach you prophecy. Now, have a woman, the Lord gave a woman a vision, or I believe Miriam used to sing songs, and while she's singing a song, the Lord would give her utterance through the song, and then the song would have basically prophetic sayings within the song as she was singing it, right? But she's not a prophet, and nor could a woman teach you prophecy, right? Right? So what woman would this be? This would have to be Sophia, right? It says, and what my son, and what the son of my womb, and what the son of my vows, right? Because what is this? What is this? The things that you do when you come into to be a prophet or be a man of the Lord. You're making a vow, which basically is like an oath, right? Let me here look at the transliteration, right? Same verse, and we're just gonna go to vows. Nadar.
Strong's H 5088. Nader. And second entry, Neder.
Yeah, it's like a Neder or Nadar. Right? And it says vow. vo, votive offering, right? So you're making offering like a vow, like I said, like an oath, right? Yeah, see, Nadar.
Strong's H 5087. Nadar. Nadar.
Nadar or Nadar, right? And it's just to vow, to make a vow, to vow a vowel, right? Strong's definition, Nadar or Naudar, root, promise to promise to give something to God, to the Most High, Yahweh, right? Making a vow, like an oath, right? I wonder if you go into the word vow definition, like regular, what it would say. Oh, there you go. Oath. See? So, yeah, so, and then like right here, it says, the word of the king of Lemuel, an oracle that his mother taught him, right? Basically like a prophecy, basically. Same thing. Oh, my son of my womb, right? Like speaking of it, like a woman giving birth to a son, but it's saying son of my vow or my oath, right? Right? And a woman can't teach a man prophecy. The spirit, right? Being, right? Matter of fact, right. So this is 2nd Ezra chapter 13, verse 55. And it says, matter of fact, maybe it should go up. For thus hast forsaken thy own way and applied thy, diligence unto what? The law, and sought it. Thy life has thus ordered in wisdom, and has called understanding thy mother, right? Because what? The mother so-called taught him prophecy. A woman can't teach you prophecy, right? But wisdom, right, which is known as a woman, Sophia, could teach you prophecy, right? And it says, and therefore have I shewed thee the treasures of the highest, right, the Most High, Yahweh, right, through his only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai, is how we get this. After order other 3 days, I will speak other things unto thee, and declare unto thee mighty and wondrous things. This is Proverbs chapter 6, verse 20. My son, keep thy father's commandments, right, which is the Most High, Yahweh, right, through his only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai. He is salvation, which is Yahweh Shai. Yahweh, meaning he exists, or the existing one, right? Forsake not the law of thy mother, right? Dealing with what? The wisdom, knowledge, the understanding of the scriptures, right? The laws, right? Which deals with, of course, the law, statutes, commandments, but these are also what? There's prophecies in it. So that's how you be taught by your mother, the scriptures, man, right? Matter of fact, it made me think of another scripture too. It says, bind them continually upon thy heart, right? La'ab, your mind. So you're constantly thinking about it. You're meditating. You're, you know what I mean? You stay within this, man, continuously on your mind. La'ab, your heart, and tie them about thy neck, right? Which is like an ox, right? Going into basically, the Lord said that a man that let go of his plow and looking back is not fit, right? So this is going into the work. You know, you're like an ox. You got the yoke on your thing, the yoke on your neck, or the oath that you made, the vow that you made. It's the oath. It's upon your neck, and you're doing the work. You're plowing, right? It says, and thus, when thus goest, it will lead thee. When thus sleepest, it shall keep thee. And when thus awake, it shall talk with thee. Right, man. Hey, and I can attest to that. Sometimes I be sleeping, and then you wake up, or while you're dreaming, you're thinking of lessons, and then you wake up, and then you do the lesson. Right? You know? Yeah, it says Proverbs chapter 7, verse 4, say unto wisdom, thus are my sister, and understanding, right? Because before it just said wisdom is your mother, right? Right? And understanding thy kinswoman, right? Right, no, it said the law of understanding thy mother, right? But now it's just saying the law of understanding is thy kinswoman, and basically reference to wisdom, you know, as your sister. So before it was just, you know, basically saying it's your mother, right? Wisdom, knowledge, and understanding is your mother, but then it's also what? Wisdom, knowledge, and understanding is also your sister. And call understanding thy kinswoman, right? So you're saying that you're supposed to have this like a close bond with the wisdom, knowledge, and with the prophecies, right? Law, statutes, commandments, but ultimately what? The spirit of Yahushua is the spirit of what? Of prophecy, right? And I believe that Lamuel is like another, like a way Solomon used to refer himself. Because like when you read some of them, he called himself the preacher, right? The preacher, and I can't remember the other one. But those are like, you know, other names he called himself. So he's you know, he writes poetically in different ways, right? Just like he wrote in the Song of Solomon, he wrote it as a woman in love, but it was still coming from him. You know, it sounds like it's a woman thing, but he wrote it. You know, Song of Solomon, which is Solomon, right? But then it's written almost like from another person's perspective, right? So it's kind of like how you get down sometimes. And it says that they may keep thee from the strange woman. Now, what woman is that? Talking about these other different philosophies, right? These different ideologies in the world, right? Another way, another Messiah, right? As the scripture says, right? They shall come teaching another Messiah, right? To keep you from the strange woman, from the stranger, which flattereth with her words, right? So now it's calling, this is a whole different other ideology, or what you would call the wisdom of the world, and he's calling the wisdom of the world a woman, right? Let's continue on. Come back here to Proverbs 31 and 3. It says, "Give not thy strength unto a woman. So basically talking about that other woman, the wisdom of this world, man. Don't give your strength over to that woman, the wisdom of this world, right? And then this is also, you can use that as a principle in life, in real life. Don't give your strength over to an actual woman either, right? You know. But this is talking about the woman, these other philosophies, these other ideologies. Don't give your strength over that, right? Well, the matter of fact, yeah. So this is Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 12, and further, by these, my son, be admonished, right? Which means to firmly reprimand or warn someone. Right, so it's a firmly, a firm warning, basically, right, of making many books. There is no end, and much study is weariness of the flesh, right? Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear Yahweh, right, the Most High Yahweh, right, through his only begotten son, which is Yahweh Shai, Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, and keep his commandments, right? And part of the commandments is what? The spirit of Yahweh Shai is the spirit of prophecy, right? And it says, keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man, right? So you're not going into all these different other philosophies, these wayward doctrines, and these feel-good theologian schools, these what do they call, prosperity preachings and teachings, and right? So dealing with a whole different type of woman, right? It says, so give not thy strength unto women, nor neither thy ways to neither thy ways to that which destroyeth kings. It says, give not your strength to women, nor your ways to that which ruin kings, right? Right, it says that it is not for kings, O Lamuel, it is not for kings to drink wine, nor for princes strong drink, right? Which we know people drink wine, or kings drunk wine, they drunk strong drink, but it's going into these different wayward doctrines, these different philosophies. You're going into a whole different way that you're not supposed to be going. Those are different wayward doctrines, but under principles, yeah, drinking too much or doing certain things is not good for you. So lest they drink and forget the law, right? See, and that's ultimately what this. Unless you go into these other philosophies, and now all of a sudden you're not keeping the commandments. It says, fear God and keep his commandments, which is the law, statutes, commandments. So you can go into all these different other doctrines and start finding, oh, you know what? I guess I don't got to keep this. You know what? I think this way now. I was really firm on believing that God said this, but now that I read this book, and it says this, the 42 confessions of whatever, the book of the dead, the Metanyeta, the Quran, the Mormon Bible, whatever you try to get into. Now you kind of kind of in between. You still believe in some of the principles of the Bible, but then you're starting to believe some of these other things too. So now you're basically like a double-minded man, right? Lest thy drink, right, and forget the law and prevent judgment of any of the afflicted. So now, because of these different philosophies, the way you would have judged when someone needed as someone who's being afflicted, pretty much just what the Pharisees did, man. They went into a different philosophy as this righteous man was being afflicted. Their mind was, wait, we only know Caesar, because if they're going to take away our rights to keep paying the tribute, and then we be on these high seats, and we're the ones that everybody revere and look to, we need to keep that going. So they had a different philosophy of what the Lord is about. The Lord is about, hey, you came from a place where you were impoverished, you were poor, you were in the bond city, and you have to have mercy upon your brothers, right? You have to think about, and that's one thing. That's how you know the difference between us and the so-called Jewish people, because most Jakes think like that. Well, what about us? I wouldn't want to do that. We didn't like when we were enslaved. Why would I want to enslave someone? But you have to understand the prophecies, the laws, right? The commandments of the Bible. The Lord commands us to put them into captivity. It's not about your will. It's not about what you think, right? That's supposed to be reserved for your brother, for the people of your nation, of the 12 tribes. You're supposed to be thinking like that, but instead you will blow another Jake's face off and then say you love Esau, man. Right? That type of mentality was not supposed to be preserved for, your you're not supposed to have, was that was it the basically when they love their captive, basically. Slovakia. I had it. I was on the tip of my tongue. But Stockholm syndrome, not Down syndrome, but Stockholm syndrome. Yeah, right. So it says, strong drink unto him that is ready to perish. Right. Yeah, because if you want to go into the different philosophies and the different ideologies, have at it. If you're ready to die, you want to go into Islam, and be prepared to die. That's basically what this is saying, right? And it says, and be ready to perish. Yeah. Give strong drink unto him that is ready to perish, and wine unto those that be heavy of heart. Right? Right? You don't know. Was it Jeremiah? Who was that? Who said that? Jeremiah? No, it was Joshua, right? Yahushua. Yeah, it said, this day I'll tell you who I'll serve. We're gonna serve Yahweh. Pick this day who you will serve, right? So to speak, right? You want to keep on going to that? It says, let him drink and forget his poverty, and remember his misery no more. Right? Right? Because you have to understand that this is still like pretty much the same woman speaking, right? At the beginning, from the beginning, supposed to be the woman, the mother, speaking. So she's saying, this is what happened. It says, open thy mouth for the dumb, right? Because this is what you're supposed to be doing. You're not supposed to be in a bunch of confusion and let people be afflicted, and you don't say nothing, and you don't give the right, correct judgment because you're in all these different philosophies. It says, open thy mouth for the dumb in the cause of such as are appointed to destruction, right? So we'll go into here and go to the transliteration of cause.
Strong's H 1779. Dean. And the form just below that, Shadeen.
Dean or Shadeen, right? Cause. It says judgment, cause, plea, right? Condemnation, right? Condemnation, right? Judgment, right? Lawsuit, strife, government, right? Because that's the cause. What's the cause of certain different judgments from, that's wrong judgment, either whether it's from the government or from other people, right? Because people, to judge, contend, right? Plead, to act as judge, minister judgment, plead to a cause, to execute judgment, require vindicate, right? Vindicate. Wait, let's get another one. See if I can. Firm, strong, Lord, Master. Law, Lord of the whole earth. Husband, Master, Governor. Okay, yeah. Yeah, so it's a vindicate, right? So yeah, you're supposed to defend the poor, right? Defend the, so open thy mouth for the dumb in the vindicating, or in the case of or putting yourself as far as a judge or a government or judge to judge, right? All such are appointed to destruction, right? Open thy mouth, judge rightly, right? And plead the cause, right? Vindicate, right? Of the poor and needy, right? So who's speaking? This is talking about, this is the way, because under different philosophies, it'll teach you not to judge right. Hey, matter of fact, scripture says, do not be a respecter of the rich nor the poor. So then you will be what end up being a respecter of persons following these different ideologies and philosophies, not a judging right. And then as you keep going, it says, who was supposed to be, with a description of a worthy woman, right? Which is not talking about this. It has to be talking about Sophia, right? Right? Because we're going to go into this. It says, who can find a virtuous woman, right? Question mark, right? So you got to remember who's writing this. I believe this is Solomon, right? And the way that he writes. And then you got to think of who it's coming from. So if it's coming from Solomon and the way he's been, and who he is, and then at the beginning, it told you to give not thy strength to women, right? But somehow, miraculously, there's a virtuous woman. By some, I don't know, whatever. Not to say that there ain't good women or as far as righteous women, here and there, but even that's with a grain of salt. You have to, each woman is, because you have to understand where this is coming from. Because matter of fact, because where did this virtuous woman come from when? Yeah, so this is Ecclesiastes 7:27. Behold, feast your eyes, look, pay attention. I have found, saith the preacher, right? And there you go. Sometimes he refers himself as Lamuel or the preacher or something, He says, counting one by one to find out the account, which yet my soul seeketh, but I find not. Right? So he's been searching for this thing, right? But he haven't found it. And then he continues on, right? Lamuel, or the preacher, right? Which is Solomon, right? Which we know as Yahushai, right? And it says, one man among 1,000 have I found. He says, so out of 1,000 men, he found one righteous man, right? Which that means that's scarcity. That's going into like the elect, right? Right. That's the scarcity of the elect. That's why there's only going to be 12,000. You got to think of how many. Remember, there's 12 tribes, and out of all 12 tribes, the Lord's only going to pick 12,000. That's a scarcity, man. Of that's how scarce it's going to be. 12,000 from each tribe. So one man, that's showing you that this thing is not for the many, man. Right? The Lord said it's a small sanctuary that he's building. So it says, So one among 1,000. So he found one righteous man have I found, right? But a woman among those have I not found. So he haven't found one righteous woman. So you have to tell me that this story or this prophecy that his mother is teaching him, because somehow a woman can teach you prophecy, right? So it can't be. So this would have to be Sophia. And Sophia said, don't put your trust or put yourself into a woman, right? Which really was dealing with philosophies, different ways. But even if it's an actual woman, if it's an actual woman, when did an actual woman become righteous? Right? A virtuous woman, who can find? That's why it's a question mark. Who can find that? Right? Yeah, see? Who can find a virtuous woman? Question mark. Right? It's coming from Solomon, same writer, same person, same one that just told you do not put your trust in a woman. But now there's somehow out of I don't know. Now there's a virtuous woman. No, The virtuous woman would have to be Sophia. The scriptures, virtuous woman would have to be Sophia, basically, for her price is far above rubies, right? Wisdom, knowledge, understanding is far above rubies. The heart, think about it, man. It says the heart of her husband doeth safely trust in her. Ooh. Hey, man, when have you been able to just trust in a woman like that? Right? You got your wife of many years that you've been together. You're late. You can't trust her like that. Come on now. That's crazy. Right? So that she shall have, so that he, trust in her, so that he shall have no need of spoil, right? Which that's not the case, man. Right? There ain't no woman, no actual woman, that you don't have you have no need of spoil, right? You're constantly being spoiled in this place, man. Right? Yeah, you're constantly being spoiled. Matter of fact, here, let's see right here. It says mother tries to get her young son birthday money, and he said this. Okay.
Stuff I do for you as a mother. Look, I take care of you, I feed you, I cook, I do all that stuff. And all I did, I asked you for your birthday money so that I can pay the light people. You don't want to give me the birthday money. So I am taking the PSI back so I can get the money so the bill can be paid.
Well, how you gonna ask for my birthday money that I got on my birthday to pay the light bill? And why you trying to take my PS5 away?
Well, you can't put the PSI anyway, man, gonna be no damn lights in our house.
You shouldn't have been going out so much. You would have had the money. What happened to the income tax?
Trying to first of all, I'm an adult. Stay out my business. When I come to you as a mother and I'm telling you that's the issue of I need help, you help.
You went out so much. I'm proud you went out. You need to spend time with us, and you need to spend money on your bills.
Leilani, I'm not even talking to you, so you stay in the child's place.
No, you can't stay in the child's place, but you asking my brother to pay your bills. And just like Blake said, you need to start spending money on us and stop spending money on yourself and your little boyfriend.
Boy, y'all gonna put y'all in.
Okay. All right. You're constantly spoiled. Where are you gonna find this righteous woman at, man? Yeah, I'm gonna read this last verse real quick and that'll be it. It says, she will do him good and not evil. And there ain't no woman that's gonna do you good and not evil. No evil? What woman gonna do you good and no evil? Even if she was a decent woman, what woman gonna do you good and no evil? It ain't gonna happen. It just don't happen. But the woman that'll do you good and not evil would be Sophia, man. Right? Right? It says all the days of her life, all the days of her life, do you good and not evil. Right? So this would definitely have to be, talking about Sophia. This is Job chapter 39, verse 17. Right? Because the power of the Most High, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, deprived her of wisdom, right? So, a woman cannot teach you prophecy, right? But mother wisdom, right? Which is really not a woman either. It's just basically showing you that it's a way that you're corrected and brought up, right? Matter of fact, let's get that too real quick. It says Yeah, because he had deprived her of wisdom, neither have he imparted to her understanding, right? Wisdom, knowledge, understanding to prophesy. Yeah, it's not a woman's job to prophesy. So how can she teach you prophecy? How can you be taught prophecy by a woman, even if she's your mother, right? For the power of the Most High, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, deprived her of wisdom and did not impart understanding to her, right? Right. So this is 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 16, right? All scripture is given by inspiration of the power of the Most High, Yahweh, right? The Father, the Abanawa Yahweh, the power. Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, and is profitable for doctrine, for what? Reproof, right? Right, to give you some correction. Basically, the scriptures is basically referred to as the rod of correction, right? You I mean, the Lord said, was it striped for the back of fools, right? So you through this thing you get corrected, you get grown up, you get built up, right? Right. One of the things the apostle said is what is it? Edify means to build, and as you're doing this, you're building, right? But you're getting what? Reproof, right? You're being reproved, correction, and for correction and instruction, right? To be guided. So prophecy tell, hey, look, and if you listen to what the mother was telling him, she was saying, hey, look, don't drink wine, don't get into these different philosophies. Be careful and give yourself over to these certain women and drink it, because these are the ways but that destroy kings, right? Right? Basically be mindful of the needy and the poor and the ones that can't speak for themselves, right? So to speak. And then you need this virtuous woman, and this virtuous woman is more precious than rubies and will not allow you to have spoil. Well, what doesn't allow you to have spoil, right? The wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. This is what keeps you corrected, right? With instructions and what? In righteousness, right? That the man of the power of the Most High, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, or the Abanawa, right? Because really this is our father, the Abana, the man of the Abanawa, right? The Father, the Most High, Yahweh, may be perfect through furbished and thoroughly furbished, right? Right? Unto all good works, right? Being basically like polished. You're always being, yeah, basically like that's the only way I can think of it like that. Always, you're sharp, you're polished, you're sharp. Yeah, you're sharp and you're polished. Things like that, right? You're always sharp, thoroughly sharp unto good works, but not to having different type of judgments because you're drunk off the philosophies of the world, and now whether they be rich or whether they be poor, now you obscure judgment because, oh no, that's a poor man, he can't defend himself, even though you're right, he's wrong, but look at him, he's poor, you can't do that. Or he's rich and you're poor, you can't do that to this rich man, he's this great guy and he's got all this statues and friends and he got all this thing, so I'm gonna side on the side of the rich man just for the sake of his reputation, because he's known, and I'm a friend to the rich. Either which way, the Lord said you can't obscure judgment. If whoever's right is right, whoever wrong is wrong, and that's the judgment. That's it. And you learn that through the scriptures, man. Right? The prophecies. which the spirit of Yahushua is prophecy. So with all that, I'm going to give all praises and all honor and all glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Rakah HaKodash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and do well. To the elder apostles, bishops in Connecticut, the bishops, the preachers, the teachers, the evangelists, and the four winds, preaching in truth and sincerity, risking your lives more now than ever, the hopeful elect, Shalom. To the Israelite foreigners who phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel through your father and have come back to the fold. Shalom. To you sisters, you Akhwathium, who listen and learn under your husband, which is your spiritual leader, with meekness and with silence, and a Bible ball, Kwamna Sharala.